session, the Essence of Evaluation, conducted by Area K3, Division K of District 121 in Toastmasters. I am Toastmaster Jaikumar, Area Secretary of Area K3. For the benefit of guests and new members, I will briefly explain about Toastmasters. Toastmasters International is a worldwide organization formed by the great visionary Dr. Rajat Santosh in 1924 at Santa Ana, California. The mission of Toastmasters is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn helps to foster self-confidence and personal growth. During the Toastmasters meeting, please refrain from mentioning topics regarding sex, religion, and politics. I request all Toastmasters to mute your mic while others are speaking. Also, if possible, please keep your video on during the meeting so that it will be an encouragement for speakers to perform better. Hello, Toastmasters. If somebody asks me what commitment is, then I will just direct them to Dr. Shirley. Even during her extremely busy schedule as one of the leading gynecologists in Kochi, she finds time to attend Toastmasters meetings regularly. As the area director of Area K3, she attended almost all meetings of all the clubs in her area. Fellow Toastmasters, please welcome our energetic and enthusiastic area director, Dr. Shirley John.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jaikumar, for that energizing start. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. And the willingness to learn is a choice. Good evening, Toastmasters and most distinguished guests. This quote by the American author Brian Harvard is also implied in the observation of Sir Benjamin Franklin, who said, "An investment in knowledge pays the best investment." Yes, learning is a never-ending process. Over the last 3 weeks from 4th of September, the month of basics, Division K of District 121 has conducted 8 educational sessions covering the various aspects of public speaking. We gave much importance to basics because in order to become a champion in any field of life, we have to be brilliant at our basics. The topics covered were how to speak, how a speech is born by DTM Nisha Shivaram, visualize, hinder or help by DTM Jackson Chuva, stand up, speak up and shut up, a session on how to engage humor by DTM Shendil Kumar, vocal variety by Dr. Rajdeep Banmani, DTM, Art of Storytelling by Toastmaster Natasha Kumar, The Hands, a Toastmaster Waves by DTM Bharati Shavgur, Speaking Impromptu by DTM Divyasri Gatti. As a culmination to all these, today we are showcasing an Area K3 event, an evaluation workshop, the Essence of Evaluation. This is a session meant to practice and appraise what we have learned over the past 21 days. I am too excited and overwhelmed about the number of participants attending this session. Now we are 41 and shortly I think we will exceed 50. On behalf of the entire team of Area K3, I welcome all Toastmasters, guests, district officials, division directors, area directors, and club officers. The crux of this session is analysis of 3 speeches by 3 students from 3 different institutions. To do the analysis, we have 3 great Toastmasters who will be introduced in detail by the Master of Ceremonies in due course. Let me welcome Toastmaster Preeti Kothari, Dr. Balan Vijayakumar, DTM, and Toastmaster Jaikumar C Pillai to this session. Who else is more appropriate to give an educational session on evaluation than Toastmasters Sridhari. The whole team of Division K welcome you, ma'am, to this gathering. It is imprudent if I take more of your time. To carry you smoothly through the session, we have a cherubic Toastmaster, a CA student, doing her articleship, who also lists singing, socializing, traveling, baking, and reading as her hobbies. She is currently the Vice President Public Relations of Cascoratis Toastmaster Club. Toastmaster Fiba Reba George. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Just a second. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Dr. Shirley John, our area director, for that phenomenal introduction and that address. I am absolutely spellbound. Criticism is like rain. It should be gentle enough to nourish a man's growth without destroying his future. Frank A. Clark. Judgment, criticism, evaluation. We are being tested every now and then. However, or wherever we are, people judge. That can have a dark shadow over our lives, or we can be wise and take all what is good for you and discard the negativity. Before we move on to our first session, I would like to introduce our timers for the day. We have two timers for the day. The first one being Toastmaster Jobin George. He is from Chalakudi and he is a practicing chartered accountant for the past 6.5 years. And he is a co-chief partner of A. John Morris and Company, which is a Chennai-based company. His wife is also a chartered accountant and he is the father of 2 sweet daughters. And our timer loves to drive. So now let's invite Toastmaster Jobin George to explain his role as the timer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Siba Reno George, for nice words. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. As a timer, I am responsible for keeping the track of time. For prepared speeches with a time of 5 to 7 minutes, the green light comes at 5 minutes, the amber light comes at 6 minutes, and the red light comes on at 7 minutes. With regard to speech evaluations, for 2 to 3 minutes, the green light comes on 2 minutes, the amber light comes on 2.5 minutes, and the red light comes on at 3 minutes. Prior to conclusion of meeting, I shall give my report. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for wonderfully explaining the role. We have a second timer as well. He's also a chartered accountant. Sorry, I didn't mention his name. Toastmaster Yadu Anandan. He is also a chartered accountant presently in practice. He qualified in the year 2015 and has got more than 2 years of work experience with the PSU in Bangalore. He is from Arur, Alapura, and is currently residing in Ernakulam. Let's also welcome him to this event.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fiba George. Actually, my name is Yadu Nandanan, not Yadu Anandan. So, as I'll be the second timer, and I will display the that colors. My background will change as at the correct intervals, and the timer's report will be presented by the first timer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for explaining the role again. Here in Toastmaster, we are given constructive criticism. I need to explain how we are evaluated here. From my personal experience, I have had wonderful evaluators throughout my Toastmaster journey. Evaluation is not simply about assessing whether an initiative was a successful or a failure. It provides a great opportunity to develop skills and identify areas you need to improve. Humans have been coming up with ways to give constructive criticism for centuries, but somehow we are still terrible at it. Maybe not all of you, but I'm still terrible at it. That's why I am here. Maybe a lot of you are here to learn more about evaluation. As we come to the finale of the month basic series, I'm sure all of us have got something to learn from all these 8 series. Without further ado, let's move on to our educational session, the essence of our meeting, the essence of evaluation. To teach us more about it, I invite Toastmaster Srinidhi. She's the past president of Daffodils Toastmaster. She's a district finalist in humorous speech contest and a second runner-up in district evaluation. 2 times district division runners-up in evaluation contest and 1-time winner in division evaluation contest. She is also a 2-time division runners-up in ISC. Who else we need to make us learn more about evaluation? Her hobbies are also reading books, and she is a recent fitness enthusiast. Let's invite Toastmaster Srinidhi to teach us more about how to do an evaluation.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but I'm guessing it's Miss George, so I'll just stick to that without tampering the first half of your name. It was definitely a fabulous introduction, but you did say I'm going to be teaching about evaluation. That brings to my profession, which is I'm a teacher by profession. So since I'm a teacher by profession, I'm going to ask you all to come on video if possible and not be those students who turn off the video and relax and watch a movie. So please do come on video if possible, and if you're in a state to come on video, that wouldn't affect the others. I hope all of you had tea, because I know tea is quite famous in Kerala. Hope chai gudi kainju alle ellardiyum. Appo session thodanganu. So before we start today's session, I have a very small, tiny story to tell you before we start. This story I read just before this educational session, and I thought it's very apt for all of us to know. A professor of students in mechanical engineering got all the boys together and he said, "Dear students, please take out this balloon that I handed to all of you. Blow the balloon out big and wide." It was a blue balloon, just like Balan Vijayakumar's background that you see, that blue color. So he said, "Blow it out big and as big as you can." So the students did that. They blew out the balloon and the dark blue changed into light blue. Now I don't find any light blue background, so I'm going to ask the timer's background. That sky color of blue, the balloon changes to that. The professor then said, "Take this marker out, write out your names on the balloon and throw this balloon into the hallway." Now the students comprised of first, second and third year of mechanical engineering students. They wrote it down quickly, just as the professor said, and threw it into the hallway. The professor then changed the task. He said, "Students, now go into the hallway quickly and pick out your balloon." The hallway was filled with those blue balloons and the students took a lot of time. Then the 5 minutes that was allotted, because classes are usually 45 minutes. They took a lot of time. They couldn't find their balloon. Now, the teacher then twisted the game once again. He said, "Students, find out or pick out any random balloon and hand over the balloon to the person whose name is written on the balloon." That was quite easy. The students finished the task in almost a minute or two. This connects to evaluation. Evaluation is also a form of giving. And it connects to happiness too. They say, don't seek for happiness. Happiness grows when you give. Same way as evaluation. When you give evaluation, we hardly or seldom do realize that we do grow in the process. Today, I'm going to give you 5 simple lessons that I learned from my evaluation journey. And I'm sure most of you here are seniors to me, so I'm DTMs. For example, Toastmaster Safir was asking me if I was a DTM. I told him I'm a Pavam TM and I'm not a DTM. So I'm going to give you only 5 simple lessons that I had learned in my journey as a Toastmaster. The first lesson is prepare it to ace it. Now, as much as you think, what do I prepare in evaluations? I would say no, you need to prepare for evaluations. How do you prepare? The first thing, when you enter into a club meeting, you have a 3 to 4 pages PDF file on evaluations, which you would be offering to the speaker that you're evaluating. Now that document is precious, right? What do? We do the 2 to 3 line of objectives reading and today we'll this much only, repeat the speech, take feedback, repeat the speech. Quite easy to do. We do not go anything beyond that. But the task is, have any of you ever read through the entire pointers given in the objective sheet? I'm sure seldom or very few. So the first point I have to offer to you when giving an evaluation is to read out the objective sheet completely. This helps you grow and helps to clinically look into any speech that's being delivered. Under prepare it to ace it, the second thing I want to suggest you all is watch more speeches. Now, I don't mean to say you have to watch only Toastmasters speeches. Watch any speeches. You love listening to Barack Obama, you love listening to, Biden, any POTUS or any form of politician or an author or a poet or a poetess, listen. Keep listening and watching more videos to connect yourself to the world of public speaking. Last but not the least, this lesson comes from DTM Arjun Sundarraj, who has joined the meeting today. Preparing is one part, but practicing is another part. DTM Arjun always tells me before contests, I know you write down evaluations, but do you deliver evaluations before you actually give it? Do you do it in your club meetings? I don't think you do. So preparing or writing down your evaluation is entirely different from delivering your evaluation. Even while you're practicing for a contest or during your club meetings, once you're done writing it, please do remember to spell it out aloud or to deliver it in your head, because I'm quite sure the way you deliver it will be different from the way you write it. The second lesson I want to offer to all of you is say it and mean it. This takes me back 5 years in my Toastmasters journey to my first ever speech evaluator from Sunshine Toastmasters Club in District 92 back then. Her name is Deepti Shetty. She evaluated my icebreaker speech. And wow, she made me continue my Toastmasters journey. Now, there's a difference between delivering an evaluation and delivering an empty evaluation. How does an empty evaluation sound? It's like, today you delivered a fantastic speech. The body language was too good. Whereas, if you compare it to an evaluation that says, Toastmaster Hari Pillai, today you delivered a fantastic speech. And in that speech, when you spoke about your mother and the way she treats and serves that 1 ounce of food on your plate, it took me back to the days that my mother served the food on my plate. Now, there's a difference between the evaluation I gave first, which was an empty evaluation, to an evaluation I gave second, where I said what I meant. And while I'm meaning it, I say it with my heart. So if your goal is to improve the speaker who's listening your evaluation, say it and mean it. So how should your evaluation not be? Back in Daffodils Toastmasters, the club I'm a part of, we have a young Toastmaster who's 87 years old, and we dearly call him Dr. Ram Jayaraman. He's been in this movement for about 40 years. And he quotes an anecdote. There was once he went on stage, and he's too cute, all right? He goes on stage and he delivers an evaluation so critically that the speaker quits the movement. So what is our role as an evaluator? This is the very question Dr. Ram asked us. Our role as an evaluator is to enable the person to take in the good things and look forward to the journey ahead. So when you are delivering an evaluation, acknowledge a speaker's efforts and give them a credible point or a valid point to work upon in the coming days, because you do not want to deliver an empty evaluation or a critical evaluation. The third point that I would want you all to take note of is to strategize it. What do I mean by strategize? If you would have observed me for the past 7 minutes, you see I'm a lot animated than I have to be. My hands go almost everywhere. Do you have a USP for yourself? It might be humor. It might be delivering a quote in a powerful way. It can be even a smile. Use your USP in your evaluation to connect to the speaker who is listening to that evaluation. Now, most times, because we're thinking evaluation, I have to be analytical, we forget in being ourselves. So if your smile is great, use it. If you're someone who uses a lot of hand gestures, use it. If you're someone who laughs while delivering the evaluation, laugh it out aloud. So please do strategize your evaluation, number one, by using your USP, which is your unique selling point. Apart from that, the other strategies include, we as Indians have too much to offer. Atiti Devo Bhava. Treat the guest as good as you can. So even when you have a target speaker, we have too much to offer to the target speaker. But it comes with strategizing on how many things you want the speaker to know. This goes back again to my journey when I delivered the district finals evaluation. Toastmaster Srinidhi always wanted to go with a structure of 4:3. 4 good points, 3 areas of improvement. I need to win the contest. But in the aspect of wanting to offer to the target speaker more, you start rushing into, or at least I started rushing into my evaluation a lot. So that is when one of my Toastmasters back in Daffodil stepped in and said, why are you rushing? Work on every point individually and develop it in a way that you mean it. So if you were to ask me what is the ideal number of points, it depends on the rate of speech that you're good at. It can be a 3:3, it can be a 3:2, but what you're there for is to offer a constructive and good evaluation to the speaker. If you're there to offer more and not do justice, it is not of good value. Under the third point of strategize it, I would go back to distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundarraj. He says, it's not how much you offer, but it is how you offer. We as individuals in an online forum have too less memory to hold on to what we have. And when an evaluator goes on and on and on and telling without a structure to an evaluation, the person receiving it is not going to remember it. Now, when I say person receiving it, it is not just the target speaker, but also members of the audience. So how you cater it is quite important. What are the strategies that you could use? One is the numbering aspect. The other is the sandwich method that you might all be knowing of. The Oreo method, the good point, area of improvement, good point, area of improvement. The airplane technique, where you start slow, or you flip it upside down, where you tell the areas of improvement first and then go into the good points that the speaker covered. But whatever be it, structure your evaluation. Few techniques to structure your evaluation. Number your points. This is what I do. I would say the first thing that I really liked about your speech. The second thing that I really liked about your speech. This brings a coherent structure in the minds of the listeners. The other things that you could do in your evaluation to structure is to tailor it to the talk, which means what? If Ms. Shobha is delivering a speech on eating cakes, then I would take an anecdote or take a line from her speech and divide my evaluations in a way I said, the areas I really felt like, wait, I don't remember that movie, Premam, where she eats that chocolate cake, not chocolate cake. I don't just remember the desert, but she eats a desert so beautifully in that movie that it is captured so well. So areas where I thought Miss Shobha looked like Muller, or then I move into areas where Miss Shobha could probably work on looking like Muller based on the speech content, obviously, and then deliver my evaluation accordingly. So your structure can be tailored on the basis of what was delivered in the speech. So please do pay keen attention. The fourth thing that I want to offer to all of you is be human. We are all in as an evaluator, look at a speech so critically that we forget that the person receiving an evaluation is there to grow and at the same time not to get a feedback that is so hurtful. How could you do it better? Use of phrases like, in my opinion, Meghna Hari, I think that you could work on this. I really do care for your growth as a speaker. I suggest you to work upon areas of this sort. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it that brings the human aspect in your evaluations. Timer, may I please know how good am I doing with time or how bad I am doing with time? Because I have one last point to go.
Yeah, ma'am, you are at now 14 minutes and 30 seconds.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So we have 1 more minute and then we'll open room for any form of questions on evaluation, because I do love taking questions from the audience. So the last point I want to cover is skill it up. How do you improve skills? The first skills that you want to know in an evaluation is analysis. It begins with analyzing almost everything in your life. It starts with analyzing your life. No, don't go down that road. It might take you to another path. But on the other side of it, you could analyze probably a dish prepared by your girlfriend or your wife and give them constructive feedback on uppu korchu kuda le. Or probably you could say things like, I think we should watch a movie today over going out for dinner because I'm lazy. But I do know you also want to watch a movie somewhere down the lane. Also by analyzing books that you read or movies that you watch. I know all of you would have recently watched the movie Home on Amazon Prime. So if you had watched the movie Home, then you could sit down and think on what characters that you connected well in the movie, things that the movie impressed you with, things that the movie could have done better with. It starts with smaller areas in your life leading up to an evaluation contest. The other thing is also to remember to read your Toastmasters International magazine. It doesn't come to your doors now. It comes to your email ID. Something I do when I go in for contests is read the TMI magazine. Closer to contests, you'll have a lot of content on what needs to be done for contests. So please do not ignore that email or mark it as spam. Read your Toastmasters International magazines. Under Skill It Up, the last point I want to tell you is your mentor matters. I've had the gift of having numerous mentors. Do you nag your mentor every now and then? If you do that, continue doing. Ask them for what you did well. Ask them for what you could improve on, even as simple as an evaluation. So these are the things I have to offer you. 5 simple lessons. Prepare it to ace it, say it and mean it, strategize it, be a human, skill it up. With these 5 lessons that I have learned out of my Toastmasters journey, I hope you learned a part of me too. Now I know all of this was in my opinion. Constructing an evaluation for 2 to 3 minutes is something all of you do know. Like I said, I'm a PowerM TM and not a DTM. But with my lessons, I hope you have a part of me and take it in your journey as a Toastmaster. With this, I come to the end of my session. I'm a teacher, so I go on for a longer time, but I would love to take questions. So be good children and unmute yourself and go ahead and ask me questions if you may have any. No compulsion. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Toastmaster.
Yes, so recently I was evaluating a speech and I couldn't find any recommendation for the speaker because I found that speech was really good. Like I couldn't really think of I'm the kind of speech evaluator who gives more recommendations than commendations. So I couldn't find any recommendations for the speaker, and my general evaluator eventually said that I could have pointed out some recommendations as well. So what do you do in such situations where you're stuck, where you can't think, no matter how much you try, you can't think of any room for improvement for the speaker?
Fantastic. So I would look at it at 2 points, Toastmaster Rajat. One is to be very, very honest and not mean in the sense mean it, that you do not have anything to offer to the speaker because the speaker was extremely good. That is honesty. You could do that. The second thing that I recommend you to do, Toastmaster Rajat, is to develop the skills of analysis. Now, knowing the fact that an evaluation is from your point of view, being a little bit more analytical could have helped you ace it. Now, things that you could do to bring in that analysis element is, I have seen people write evaluations while they are watching it. It's something even I do. For example, when Rajat is speaking, I'll be looking at Rajat, but my hands will be moving, which means I'm making every bit or a note of what Rajat has said, and I reflect back at the end of the speech, which means what? I take a step back and see, did the speaker actually meet what he was expected to do? So there are other areas also that you could look into. For example, you would have started speaking about going on a trip, and you would have drifted apart to why someone should eat healthy. So there are speeches that go that way. So when you reflect on what happened in the speech in the 6 to 7 minutes, you could look back into 1 or 2 points. Apart from that, the analysis techniques that I gave you can also help. I hope I've answered your question. These are things that I could suggest and can help you grow, Toastmaster Rajat. I hope your general evaluator does not tell you that probably you could have had 1 or 2 points, but yeah, as long as you were honest about it. I hope I answered your question. Thank you. Arjun, I'm not taking your question. It's not fair. You're going to put me on the spot. But yeah, please go ahead, Arjun. Yes.
Thank you so much, Srinidhi. That was a wonderful session, no doubt about it. I just have a follow-up on what Rajat was asking and how you responded. All right, you did mention that you would take notes while you listen to the speaker. And I do that too. I do simultaneously do that too. Probably I could say that I'm gifted that way, no doubt about it. But not everyone is per se gifted that way. So when I'm making notes, I might tend to lose out on a couple of aspects which could possibly help the speaker. What would be your take on that part in terms of listening and writing simultaneously as an evaluator?
Arjun, fantastic question. 2 things I can suggest is, number 1 is mind mapping, which is not drawing out, not writing everything while the speaker is saying, but putting it as probably like I recommend my students to do that. Like when you go back into a concept, what are the things that you could recollect from the speech? If not, you're able to write it then and there, or even when you're writing it then and there, not write everything, but draw it out in circles and connect it. For example, there is always a storyline, or there can always be a flow in which the speech is constructed. So if that speech is not there, then if it's not constructed in that way, then it goes into areas of recommendation saying it was not constructed in a particular way. But to remember it, then I do the mind mapping. The second thing that I do is keywords in a speech, which is, for example, Arjun met mother, then Arjun met father, then Arjun went to school, then Arjun ate ice cream. So this would just be my keynotes of the speech. So these are the 2 things that I could suggest you. 1 is mind mapping and keynotes if you're not able to take running notes. I think I was a nerd at school, so I could take down notes as and when it happens. But yeah, these are the other 2 ways you could improve. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Srinidhi. I like the ice cream part anyway the most. So it's good.
Yeah, I owe you one. Thank you. I think you all understood everything, or you've not understood anything, just like a typical teacher dialogue. But if you have any questions, we'll take probably 30 seconds more. You could unmute and feel free to ask.
How to wrap up an evaluation?
That's a fantastic thing. How to wrap up any evaluation. So I'm a business economics teacher, so I'll give you a strategy. You start slow, you peak, which means you go up on the ladder, which is a equilibrium, restoration. When you're in the restoration, which is closing the speech, close strong and on a motivating note. What I would suggest is probably use certain lines from the speech and say that, these things in your speech meant so much to me, and I hope my evaluation meant a lot to you. That means you're putting yourself at the upfront, but it is in the way you deliver it. You could take tidbits and put it in the end. Some people use quotes, while some people just summarize and close it at the end. But I would always recommend a powerful close, which makes the speaker feel motivated. Things that I do is, the thing that I do is to take a tidbit from the speech and put it in the end and develop into a quote of myself and then close the evaluation. So it connects on a personal note to the speaker who's delivered the speech. I'm not too sure who asked that question, but I hope I answered your question, sir. All righty, the timer is flashing a red card. I hope I did justice to what you had hoped for in this session. Wishing you all good luck in the evaluations you are going to deliver. Let that blue balloon of happiness, learning and growth be passed on from one of us to that of another, and may all of us grow as good communicators, leaders, better human beings, and also good Toastmasters. On that note, thank you so very much for having me. Back to you, MC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters Srinidhi. That was such an interesting and energetic way of teaching us what evaluation is. And I'll be taking your voice modulation back with me while I'll be speaking. I'll be using that. I loved it. So your teaching was more like sharing your personal experience than teaching something to us. So thank you so much for that. Now, every Toastmasters meeting has got a structured flow of events. And even today, we are not going to break that. We will be having a prepared speeches session next. For that, we have very talented 3 speakers. First, I'll be calling out the first speaker. The first speaker for the day is Toastmaster Rachel Babu. She is a student pursuing engineering in electronics and communication in Government Engineering College, Thrissur. She likes to spend her leisure time reading books and watching movies with her family. She'll be evaluated by Toastmaster Preeti Kothari. Her speech is titled Zest for Life. Zest for Life, Rachel Babu.
Am I audible and clear?
Yes, you are.
Ma, could you give me a glass of water? Dad, could you open that bottle for me? Chichi, close the door. Oh yes, it's surprising that we can be more commanding than any commanding officers in this world. We can act as a chieftain only at one place. It is near to your office or college. And we all know the directions to this location. Maybe it might be saved in your Google Maps as well. We lovingly call it home. Honorable panel of evaluators and my dear fellow Toastmasters, good evening. Our achievements in life are our assets. They inspire us to make more progress. We are praised for our innovations and obeyed for our position and strength. But all this power and position have short-lived significance in our life. The perennial things are the kisses of a father, the affection of a sister, and the unending love of a mother. The sweet smile of a better half and the sweet things told by our family members are the treasures one cannot get anywhere else. Our memory of even insignificant things done at home lingers in our mind forever. Even if we become a great person, a great leader, or even a great politician, we can never forget the embraces given to us by our mother, the stories told by our grandparents, or even the simple games played at home. They remain in the canvas of our mind forever. I was born and brought up in Abu Dhabi. After my 10th grade, it was an overnight decision to put me in a school in Kerala. Well, the idea was brilliant, and I got my admissions in Brilliant Study Center. Oh, absence makes the heart grow fonder. I could understand the essence of this quote after going away from home. The nostalgic memories of home used to haunt me during my stay in Brilliant Study Center. With a Nokia feature phone, which could be used only twice a week for a time span of only 15 minutes, it is when I began to realize the value of relationships. When I stayed away from home, I also began to notice those nuances which we never give importance to before. The nostalgic memories of my mother calling me in loud voices again and again kept on haunting me in the hostel. Rachel, eat up, your food is getting cold. How I used to ignore those words and stay in my own life. Then came the hostel days when I didn't even have the time to eat my putta and drink coffee. I used to pour the entire coffee onto my cold putta and gulp it down like a soup. While it's not really for the food we miss home, it's more of the warmth and love which we will never get even in a 5-star restaurant. Life is like a journey, and we must learn to enjoy the ride. So I decided to make my hostel life a more memorable one. I decided to imagine my hostel as a temporary home with my warden as a distant aunt who visits me once a week and my friends as my own sisters. Eventually, this new perspective helped me to improve my studies and also cope up with my homesickness. I realized that home is the medicine which can cure all your worries and anxieties. When we say home, we can never forget the foundation over which it is built, our parents. Parents never ignore us. They may insult, no, they may correct us, but can never insult us. Even when children don't look after their parents and run in their busy schedules, parents never complain, but they will always praise them. The father would say to the neighbors, "My son is a busy man, lots of work to do. Children also have their exams going on. That's why he doesn't visit me very often." They will never badmouth us, even how much we ignore them. I recall an incident when we planned to spend our summer vacation in Kerala. My grandfather passed away years ago, and my grandmother only a year back. My dad looked all disappointed, and I asked him, "Dad, why are you looking so gloomy today?" And he said to me, "When I come back home, my mother wouldn't be there to ask about my health, to ask about my work, or even talk to me." We all have siblings, but as they grow, they begin to have their own families and will have to shoulder their responsibilities. But a parent can equally look at all her 10 children and love them unconditionally. There is nothing in the world as sweet as home, because a house is built by hands, but a home is built by hearts. A warm, welcoming, and loving home is my zest for life. What is yours? Over to you, MC.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that wonderfully presented speech. Now, we have the next speaker, the second speaker, Meghna Hari. She graduated in Electronics and Communication from NIT Calicut in the year 2020. She is currently working with Texas Instruments as test engineer. She loves spending her idle time sky gazing, and she is hailing from Kochi. She will be evaluated by Dr. Balan Vijayakumar, DTM. Her speech is titled Toastmasters, the Unique Lab. Toastmasters, the Unique Lab, Meghna Hari. Over to you.
Imagine a world with umpteen number of Ferrari cars. Interesting, right? Wait, there's more coming. How about Ferrari cars as the only mode of transport? No flights, ships, buses, trains, autos, nothing. But only Ferrari cars. Lost interest? Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, dear friends and beloved guests, a warm good evening to you all. No matter how best the choice you get, life is not interesting unless you have variety. The same applies to all the people as well. If the world constituted only of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's or Mother Teresa's or Martin Luther King's, things would not keep going. For that, you need all the different types of people. Still confused? So was I when I first read through my speech objective. A speech about what Toastmasters envision about mentorship. Being a novice Toastmaster, I had a very thin idea on what mentorship is. So I approached my all-time mentor, Google, obviously. There, I found something interesting that really moved me. The renowned filmmaker Steven Spielberg has once said, and I quote, "The delicate balance of mentoring someone is not about creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. A mentor is not expected to create a clone of himself. If that was the case, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam would have created more of Kalams, Mother Teresa would have created more of herself. But a mentor is expected to unveil the hidden skills and enable a person so that they can pave their own path to explore the unexplored. Now, when I look back, that is exactly what my mentors have done to me. This speech about mentorship would be incomplete if I don't mention about Alexander Sir, my Google map in public speaking. If any one of you knew him, you would realize that the way he talks is extremely different from what I do. He's a very subtle speaker compared to me, while I'm quite a loud one. But he was the first person to realize that there is a speaker in me. And today, here I am, right in front of you, delivering a speech. Had he tried to create a clone of himself, I would not have got the confidence to explore myself. One question to you all. What is common about Steve Jobs, P.T. Usha, and Toastmasters? Any ideas? Well, it's simple. All of us have awesome mentors. People who become really great at what they do have awesome mentors. When Steve Jobs became a revolutionary, he had his mentor, Warren Buffett, to push him. And when P.T. Usha became the queen of Indian fields and tracks, she had her coach to push her from behind. Now, my question to you all is, who is your coach? Who is the person who is mentoring you? any idea on which the toughest exam in India is? I can give you a clue. The results just came yesterday. Well, it's the civil service exam. Do you think that the N number of coaching institutes that is there within the country has got all civil servants hired as tutors there? Certainly not. Then how do you think are the students cracking this tough exam? Any ideas? Don't get confused. It's simple. You don't necessarily require a successful person to mentor you to success. Come on. You can't expect your mentor to sit and solve the equation of the Russian nuclear bomb. No. All he needs to do is just to say, let me know if you require any help. The point being not to make anyone feel stranded. A mentor only has to unveil your hidden skills and turn the odds in your favor so that you yourself can pave your way to success. Let's come back to square one. What Spielberg has quoted is exactly what Toastmasters envision about mentorship. I'm just an 8-month-old Toastmaster, as old as my club. But when I joined Dreamers Heaven, I never felt stranded. There were always the senior members and my peers with a helping hand. In Toastmasters, the moment you select a topic, you can start discussions with your mentors. And you get support at all the stages, from searching for the content, drafting the speech, and finally, most importantly, delivering your speech in your best possible way. And it does not end there. In fact, every person sitting here is my mentor in one way or the other. From my evaluator, who has keenly observed my speech, to every single person. To be honest, all the comments that I have received about my speech has definitely contributed to my evolution to make me who I am today. And I'm sure that it would still continue to contribute to my growth. And all of this without letting me lose my essence. In short, Toastmasters is not a cloning laboratory wherein we output Shiv Kheras or Robin Sharmas. Instead, Toastmasters is a unique lab that outputs unique, successful personalities. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Meghna Hari, for that well-expressed speech. Finally, we have Rajat Santosh, Toastmaster Rajat Santosh, who's a very dear friend of mine from my very own club, Cast Curators Club. He's the VPE of our club, and we call him our straightened hair Jesus Christ, a supporting friend and a dedicated leader. He's a CA student doing his articleship in Kochi. His evaluator is Toastmaster Jaikumar C Pillai. Rajat is here with a speech titled Struggling with Honesty. Struggling with Honesty, Toastmaster Rajat Santosh. Over to you.
Once upon a time, there was a boy and there was a girl, and they were in love with each other. They used to go on dates, they used to go on long drives, and there used to be endless phone calls. They used to be each other's biggest supporters. But there was this one thing which always bothered the boy. His girlfriend used to snap back at him, and sometimes very violently. But the society, what does the society teaches boys these days? Bury your emotions, don't cry, right? So he became the bigger man and he buried his emotions and he kept silent. Furthermore, he grew mentally distant from her, and she noticed this and asked him what is wrong. Why are you mentally distant from me? But he didn't express his feelings, thinking that it would upset her. He was always like, no, nothing, everything is fine, right? Nevertheless, eventually, they went on to a slow and painful breakup. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I do not know how many of you are in a relationship here, but those who are can relate to something familiar with this, right? We always think that not expressing what we feel, it prevents making others, feel bad or feel sad or something like that. But I'm a strong advocate of the quote, the truth shall set you free. Whenever I express what's bothering me, I feel very light. I feel as if I took a huge baggage and placed it downstairs. Maybe that's the reason why many people are not ready. They don't realize they have a baggage on their head. But let me tell you, telling what's bothering you, it's equal to waiting for an examination results. Maybe that's the reason why people resort to more white lies. This art of practicing honesty can go from dude, I do not like your shirt, when he or she asks you how you look like, or giving an important critical speech evaluation of your fellow speaker. At times you might wonder, am I being rude or am I being honest? That's the dilemma you have to face with. And my journey of being honest, trust me, it has never been easy. At times it's grueling when everyone in one room agrees on one thing, and here I am expressing my concern, thereby ruining the mood of the whole person. But like I said earlier, whenever I express what concerns me, a huge baggage is being lifted off my head, and I feel very light because I do not have anything to hide from others. Now, I started this art of practicing honesty at my home. And this involved giving out hard truths to my mother, like, Mom, yes, I was at Goa for New Year. Of course, I was drunk. And it can even go on to, yes, my examinations were really bad, so please do not expect great results. Instead of saying, saying, exam kuഴപ്പമില്ലായിരുന്നു. Translated to, yeah, exams were okay. The cliche excuse that you give. But let me tell you, all these hard truths made my mom go lawyer up against me. But the fact that I couldn't surprise her more with any more hard truths that I'm already given made her trust me more. And I suggest every one of you to give it a shot at that. When I was little, I used to be very insecure. For example, if I bought a new shirt and if no one complimented me, I used to feel very stressed out. Later on, I was lucky enough to meet a new set of friends who expressed what was there on their mind, and they would tell straight to my face. One day, I was a very thin boy when I was little. So I wore a full sleeve t-shirt, which was a slim fit. So it looked like a t-shirt hanging on a stick. And my friends was like, dude, do not wear that again. You look like something else. And even though at that time I waved it off with a smile, I thought about it. Really? Is this really that bad? Is that what people think of me? But after a series of such events, I learned this important lesson called self-acceptance. Okay, so what, he or she doesn't like my shirt? I like it. Am I living their life or am I living my life? I don't even get time to do things that I want to do myself. Now I have to do things for others. Why? But let me tell you, it took me years to realize that. And one of the important things that you learn when you speak the truth is that how people value your opinion. Even though people at times feel comfort in white lies, in the long term, they need people who doesn't follow the crowd. They need people who are honest. It is very easy to lie, okay? But the guilt that you get afterwards will make you comfortable for a very long time. But giving out a hard truth might be very difficult at the beginning, but towards the end or a long-term effect, it will give you a sense of, easiness, because you don't have to hide anything from anyone anymore. It is like a snowball effect. You first give out a white lie, then you give out another lie to cover up your first lie, then you lie, and it goes on like a snowball effect until it becomes a huge pile of snowball where you have to pile into it and to find the actual truth. So why create a snowball in the first place? Or if at all you have created, don't let it grow. Just crush it under your feet and uncover the truth and just let yourself free. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, next time your crush asks you how he or she looks good, how he or she looks in a dress, if you don't like it, just tell them to your face that I don't like it. Let them like you for who you are and not for your fake compliments. Because let me tell you, an honest compliment feels 1,000 times better than a fake compliment. Thank you, and over to the MC.
Thank you so much for speaking from your own experience and making it a wonderful speech. I'm sure all that speeches has put us in a tight spot, right? We all loved it. We all loved each one of you. They were splendid. It's time we move on to the next session. Now we will be moving on to a very thrilling session. Does anyone like being questioned? We don't actually love it unless we are doing it on a competition, right? So next we have an entertaining quiz session. And to conduct that, we have Toastmaster Ashok Kumar. He is the director at Salem Gobi Hospital, Salem. He has got 18 years of experience in his area of expertise. He is the BPPR of Dreamers Heaven Toastmasters Club, passionate about mentoring, and loves taking up business quiz master roles, especially at B-schools. So let us all welcome Toastmaster Ashok to set the stage on fire.
Thank you, Toastmaster Reena George. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Just give me a second. Is the screen visible? So I request everyone to just go onto the browser and type kahoot.it, kahoot.it. It will ask you for a game pin number. To enter the pin number 8717938. Just if you're on a mobile phone, just minimize Zoom and go to your browser. Welcome, Anu. You're the first one to join. Welcome, Toastmaster Anu. If you're on a desktop, just open up a browser page and type kahoot.it. It will ask you for a game pin number. This game is like you'll have 4 options to choose. It's like choose the best. You'll have 4 colors to choose from. So I'll have a mix. I brought in a mix of questions. So even if you don't know the answer, just click whatever color you like. There's no negative scoring. So we have 49 members in our Zoom meeting. If you could just, this is going to be a fun game. It's not too much of thinking. It's just going to be a fun game. Like for 30 seconds. So you need to click on your mobile phone or on the Kahoot app. Don't click on the Zoom screen. Sometimes people try clicking on the Zoom screen. Yeah, smiley participant. Maybe we'll wait for one more person. I think we're 20. We'll start. So First question is just a trial round. So it's going to be really a tough question. What is 1 plus 1? Click on the answer. Is it 1 or is it 2 or is it 11 or is it 0? Click on your Kahoot browser, not on the Zoom screen. So we have 16 answers so far. This is just a trial round, so there's no scoring for this. Just to understand how Kahoot works, it was just a fun question. So we have 20 answers. So let's see if all of us are right. Okay. So one of us have clicked 11. So it's okay, just a trial question. There's no scoring for this round. So you'll need to click on the right answer, right color on the Kahoot page, not on the Zoom page. So let's see who's clicked it first. Toastmaster Anu's clicked it first. Toastmaster Hari sir is again. Hariraj sir, new 80, and Toastmaster Rajat. This scoring is 0 because first question is just a dummy question. So from the second question, the actual quizzing starts. Toastmasters breaking the ice since which year? Is it 1920, 1947, 1924, or 1900? I think this should be easy, right? Everywhere we see. We have 3 more people. Just click on any answer. There's no negative scoring. So do Inky Pinky Ponky or your favorite color. Anything is fine. We have 19 answers, 5 seconds to go. Okay, there are 19 people. So the answer is 1924. Since 1924 is our caption always. So we'll see who's the first. Toastmaster Shinai is leading the scorecard, followed by Toastmaster Jabin and Toastmaster Hariraj. Move on to the third question. What is the caption for Toastmasters? Where managers are made, where toasters are made, where leaders are made, where masters are made. I think this should be easy. Okay, I think 21 answers we have. 10 seconds to go. I think most of us have clicked it, so we'll see. I think most of us have got it right. It's about making leaders. So Toastmaster Shinidhi is leading, followed by Toastmaster Jabin. The fourth question, the first Toastmasters club in India. Is it Bombay 1990? Is it Bangalore 91? Is it Chennai 91? Or it's Delhi 90? Somewhere near to, it's also part of our district. So I think they have 20. So we'll move on. Time's up. Right answer is Garden City Toastmasters, Bangalore, 1991. So we'll see who's leading the score. Toastmaster Srinidhi, followed by Toastmaster Anu. Toastmaster Hazel is leading up. Toastmaster Yadu just entered the scorecard. So the fifth question, what was the name of the first 2-page newsletter started in 1930? Currently, it's just a Toastmasters International magazine. But in 1930, what was the name for a 2-page newsletter? We have 19 answers, 5 seconds to go, 20 answers. So I'll just skip it. So the gavel is the right answer. When they launched in a 2-page format, it was the gavel. So who's leading? So Toastmaster Shinidhi is leading, followed by Toastmaster Hazel and Toastmaster Anu. Moving on to the sixth question, which is not a pathway offered. There are 3 actual pathways offered here. One is a pathway which I created. So which is not a pathway offered. So we have 20 answers. I think most of us have clicked it right. So people influence is not a pathway. It's persuasive influence. I just tweaked it to people influence. So that's not a pathway offered. So Toastmaster Srinidhi is leading, followed by Toastmaster Hazel. I think these 5 people dominate the scorecard, not giving chance to others. So question number 7. What is DNDTM? And highest individual award in Toastmasters. What does D stand for? Divisional, District, Distinguished, Dynamic. This should be easy, right? I think 20 people have answered, so let's move on. So all of us have got it right. It's distinguished. Okay, Toastmaster has been quicker. So moving to the top, followed by Toastmaster Shinidi. If everyone's going to answer correctly and who clicks it faster, that microseconds count. So that's where you make a mistake. Is this order correct? Members, clubs, areas, divisions, districts, regions. Is the order correct? Is it true or false? Have I jumbled it, or is the right order? Is the order correct? Seconds to go. There are 18 answers, 5 seconds to go. Okay, most of you got it right. The order is right. I didn't want to confuse you, so I just put in a simple order. Let's move on to the. Okay, Toastmaster Shinidi is leading again, followed by Toastmaster Anu and Toastmaster Jabin, Toastmaster Hazel, and Toastmaster Hariraj. Moving on to the 9th question. Just look at the picture and what does the picture convey with respect to Toastmasters? Is it the road ahead, or is it the crossroads? Is it pathways or intersection? With respect to Toastmasters. I think most of you have clicked it, so let's skip it. So it's pathways. So the Toastmaster Shinidi is leading the scorecard. Let's move on to the 9th question, 10th question. Who is the current international president for this year? Is it Toastmaster Balraj, Toastmaster Deepak, Toastmaster Richard, or Toastmaster Margaret? I'm sure all 4 of them would be DTMs. So the current 3 of them are former international presidents and 1 is a current international president. So 10 seconds to go. So there is no negative scoring, so just click on any favorite color. The answer is Toastmaster Margaret Page. If you read the September magazine, you would have seen her on the front cover, Toastmaster Margaret Page. So Toastmaster Shinidi is leading the scorecard. Let's move on to the 11th question. Today being the evaluation session, so what am I talking about? What is this method called? Positive improvement, positive. This method is called a burger, a sandwich, a hot dog, or an ice cream. What is this method called? So I'm making you hungry this time. So what is this method called? I don't want to put the picture of that, so it'll be really an easy clue. So 19 answers, time's up. This should be easy. Okay, most of us got it right. I think few people like the burger and ice cream, so they clicked burger and ice cream. So, okay, Toastmaster Anna is quick on the clicks now, so she's moved to the top. So the 12th question. If you recently watched the Toastmaster International virtual webinar, who is the current world championship of public speaking? Is it Toastmaster Verity Prize? Is it Muhammad Abdullah or Danjayan or Mike Cat? All 3 of them are recent world championship, but I'm asking for who is the current world championship. I think just a month back this happened. So just 1 question to go. The answer is Toastmaster Verity Prize. Others are previous world championship winners, previous years. So the Toastmaster Anu is leading, Toastmaster Jaban is following by. So the final question. What is the name of the annual conference coming up by the end of May 2022? Is it Crest, is it Capstone, is it Crown, or is it Crescendo? So like the name was coined by our division Toastmaster Safir. Thank you for the name. So I think maybe he'll share more details about this annual conference happening on May 28th and May 29th. So most of us have got it right. So let's see the scorecard. When I click next, so on the 3rd place we have Toastmaster Anj. 2nd place Toastmaster Jeben. 1st place Toastmaster Anu. Congratulations, Toastmaster Anu. And the runners up, 4th place we have Hariraj sir, and 5th place we have Jaikumar C Pillai sir. So hope you all enjoyed it. Participating is more important than winning the quizzes. So looking forward to more quizzing. Thank you all, and back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Reena George. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I personally love this Kahoot app and such a brilliant way to conduct a quiz competition, even in such a online meeting. Okay, now it's time to move on. Before we move on, can I request all of you to turn on your video? We need to take a group photo before we move on to the next session. I request all the members, participants to turn on your videos. Toastmaster Hari Pillai,
Yes, just
is everyone visible on the screen?
waiting for a few more faces.
Okay.
Sorry, it says host is not allowing to open.
Sorry, host is not allowed.
Well, you cannot start your video because the host is stopped it.
Yeah, can you just try now?
Yeah, thank you.
Just a second.
Hari sir, will you be taking the photo?
Yeah. 2 people are taking it, don't worry, so we won't miss it.
Okay.
Just give me a few seconds. So all can keep smiling so that we can take the photos. Okay, it's done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. That doesn't mean you can switch off your video. You can switch on your video so that all the speakers are encouraged by looking at your face. Okay, now it's time to move on to our well-awaited session. Since we just had Essence of Evaluation month of basic session some few minutes back, I'm sure all of us are very thorough how to evaluate a person, right? So we need not know much about it because Toastmasters Srinidhi has taught us really well. So before we move on to the session, let me introduce the first evaluator. The first evaluator is none other than Toastmaster Preeti Kothari, an optimist who strongly believes that a genuine smile can change the world. A homemaker and an entrepreneur who dreams of becoming a public speaker. She has won accolades for her club by winning several competitions. A past president of DET Toastmasters, a competent communicator, and a competent leader. Let's invite her onto the first evaluation.
Do I need to pin the timer or how do I see him? Or is he in the spot?
I'll spotlight for you, don't worry.
So it is Yadunandan. Yeah. When a speech is delivered with utmost conviction, with brilliant articulation, and delivered in a conversational style, dear Toastmasters, don't we feel it's a friend who is sharing her experience? I felt this today. Good evening, loving Toastmasters, guests, and my zestful Toastmaster, Rachel Babu. a personal story. My evaluation would go into 3 segments: the positive points, the points to progress, and the points to ponder. The positive points. A personal story delivered with utmost conviction and authenticity shows the ethos element of the Aristotle model of communication. Her story was so genuine, it touched my heart. What I also loved was Rachel's speech was decorated with fantastic vocabulary, contrasting comparisons like kiss of a father, affection of a sister, and multiple quotes that added to her skills. Moving on to the little points to progress. Dear Rachel, your title was Zest for Life. I could not connect to it until the ending statement that you made, asking myself, why is the title the Zest for Life? Consider having a theme at various points, maybe after each story, which says, my zest for life is my home. My zest for life is my home. And in the end, you come to the audience and say, my zest for life is my home. Pause and say, what's yours? The impact would have been great. The next point to progress, you had multiple stories which led me to different messages. What should be my takeaway? Home is the best place. Parents are your best friends. Hostel life can be made into your home. I would say reduce the number of stories and just give one strong call to action to all of us. And because it's a virtual platform, dear Rachel, just try working on the lighting and the camera. Maybe ask your mentor to sit on the other side and help you with this. Now for the little point to ponder. Characterization brings life into your story, and you are a beautiful story. Consider getting one character into life, maybe your mother. She wears a wrinkled sari, has beautiful eyes, and has a smile on her face. I could have actually seen her. To know more on characterization, watch Aaron Beverly's winning speech, An Unbelievable Story. To summarize, brilliant articulation, personal touch, decorated vocabulary, work on transitions, a strong universal message, call to action, and your virtual presence. Dear Rachel, I'm married and live far away from my parents. Today, after hearing your speech, you've motivated me to book my tickets and quickly rush and meet my parents, my mother, my father, and my siblings. Thanks for doing that, contest chair. I mean the MC.
Thank you so much. You did meet my expectations. Seeing your list of accomplishments, I was quite impressed. So you did meet my expectations. So true. Thank you for your opinions and expressing it so well. Now we'll move on to our second evaluator, Dr. Balan Vijayakumar, DTM, a wonderful Toastmaster and a brilliant leader. He's one person who makes sure that all the role he takes up is performed exceptionally well. We all are blessed to have you here, sir. Moving on to your evaluation.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Toastmasters and guests, good evening. Toastmaster Meghna started with the Toastmasters lab, the saying that it's a unique lab. And then she said, imagine. And that was a lovely beginning. It took me into that world where everything around is a Ferrari. Lovely metaphor. And then suddenly she made a twist. That there is only Ferrari. There is nothing else. Everything looks like a Ferrari. And then that metaphor led to the point that she was trying to make. What she was trying to achieve in the speech was she was trying to inspire us to be great mentors. And she was trying to give us a few pointers on how mentors are sometimes great mentors. The point was that mentors are not trying to make everybody a Ferrari. They are trying to help people discover themselves. Great message, simple message. Simple messages can go a long way. The question is how well that message is decorated, that message is powered by stories, the The message is illustrated with example, how much I can see it, how much it becomes a part of. Did you succeed in that? How powerful were your stories? You brought your mentor, Alexander Sir. But in that process, you lost your metaphor. Now, Alexander Sir, or somebody who was not your mentor or a mentor you could not adapt with, could have been a potential character here and would say, look, this is my Ferrari. Where is your Ferrari? Is this how a Ferrari should look? So I think you can take the speech to the next level by finding powerful stories to illustrate your point. Alexander Sir could have that lovely specs, that gray hair, that laid back approach. You don't have to be like my Ferrari. What's the car you drive? What's special about your car? He could have come up with wonderful dialogues that illustrated your point. The point you made about the civil service, same thing. I think it was a bit flat. Find great stories and run that metaphor through your speech. You could have again brought it back in the end to make it a powerful ending. I am not here to tell you that Ferraris are the only possibility. You are a unique possibility, something like that, to nail that powerful ending. The message may be simple. It depends upon how you deliver it. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, sir, for making the speaker comfortable, and you made it a point that your suggestions was well digested by the speaker, and I'm sure she'll correct all her mistakes the next time she speaks. Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, our third evaluator, Toastmaster Jaikumar C Pillai. He has been a Toastmaster for the past 14 years and a member of Kochi and Travancore Toastmaster Club. Has performed various leadership roles in the Toastmaster movement within and outside the club. He has been a contestant at the district level evaluation contest twice. Currently, he's a partner in Center for Research and Consultancy, which is into marketing research and consultancy. Now, let's move on to your evaluation, sir.
Good evening, MC, fellow Toastmasters, and the honest speaker, Toastmaster Rajat. Today, Jesus Christ with straightened hair enlightened us on what is the way forward if at all we get mired in the delicate region between the forces of truth and deceit. Toastmaster Rajat, it was a fantastic speech and I loved every moment of it. Because at your age, I didn't have the guts to blurt out the truth to my parents when I flunked the exams. About my crushes, the less said, the better. I loved the speech because it was so personal. Always remember, when you dare to bear yourself, you endear all the more to the audience. And you did exactly that, Toastmaster. Second thing I liked about the speech, it had a great structure. Problem solution. He started with a problem and he delved into it with a classic liner, once upon a time. And that immediately rivets the attention of the audience to the speaker. And it was so neatly organized with excellent transitions. He explained the problem with an example, used personal anecdotes, how he learned from his mistakes, and what are the learnings for us and the audience. And he looked so assured. His voice is very pleasant. The body language, when he said in love, he clasped his hands and he was very animated throughout. And there was also humor, self-deprecatory at times when he said, compared himself to a t-shirt on a stick. So all in all, a lovely speech, which really was compelling and made us glued to you throughout the speech. Now, what could have made this speech even better, Toastmaster? To improve, I would say, when you have moments of epiphany, when you have aha moments in your speech, you need to drive them with greater impact. When you realized, for example, Truth shall set you free. Bring in a pause before that and say it with all the gravitas and the profoundness that the statement carries. Or when you blurt out the truth, the outcome, wait for the outcome. My mother started trusting me more. Because those are the moments in the story that can turn the audience around. So milk those moments in the story. Okay. Second thing is you are animated, but the animation level can be even better when you're having conversations. For example, with your girlfriend, there's that, all the arguments that can be done better. And the conclusion can be a lot more powerful. Okay. Because an exhortation to the audience to crush the web of lies that you churn around yourself, something like that, with force. Overall, great personal story, refreshing, but milk the truths that you bring in that story. Over to you, MC.
I love the way you include humor in your evaluation. That made it more appealing, I should say. It was wonderful listening to you, sir. Now, that is the end of our evaluation session. Moving on to our panel discussion. For that, as a moderator, we have Toastmaster Hariraj MR. He is an advocate by profession, a bibliophile, magician, photographer, writer, and traveler by passion. Wow. He is a Toastmaster from 2017. He has been the VPE of Madhur Malayalam Toastmaster Club. He is the present president of Madhur Malayalam as well. He is the area director of K2 District 121 for the year 2021 to 22. And his accomplishments are many. He has won the first prize in Vakmiyam 2019 contest in Malayalam speech by Toastmasters. He has represented India in the World Malayalam Toastmasters competition in 2020. He was also the second runners-up in World Malayalam Hubris Speech Contest in 2021. So let's move on to the next session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony, for that very wonderful introduction. Made my day. I'll share you a little secret. In a court of law, the means of reaching the truth is by cross-examination. As a lawyer, that is one of the best part of my profession I really relish. And that is one reason why I took up this responsibility of being the moderator. I get to question these three wonderful individuals who presented absolutely wonderful evaluations before us. And I think, can we have the evaluators, the panelists on spotlight also? Hari?
Yeah, adding him.
Yeah. While he does that, we all listen to a lot of speeches. As Toastmasters, we get wonderful opportunity of listening to speeches, getting to evaluate them. And what wonderful speeches we had today, and what amazing evaluations we had today. Now we try to go a little deeper, try to see what worked with these great individuals, and try to analyze how exactly they did this magic. So I always used to wonder, when we go for a contest, how is the judge going to look at our speech? Of course, we have definitely had evaluations in our club, and all evaluators definitely start with saying what a wonderful speech. But I never felt that most of the judges felt that way when I presented my speeches in the contest. So, and there is another beautiful thing about Toastmasters is that you never get to know who all the judges are. You only know the chief judge. The others is a secret. but it's not that big a secret. I have seen Mr. Jaikumar sitting and feverishly writing and writing and writing something when the contest is going on, especially when I am speaking. I know he was a judge. So my first question, sir, is to you, Mr. Jaikumar. Toastmaster Jaikumar, what is the difference between you looking at a speech as a judge and an evaluator? How is the approach different? Is it different at all?
Thank you, Toastmaster Hariraj, for that question. Yes, the roles are quite different because when you are a judge, the standards are set against what is given on the evaluation sheet, and you're going to be objective with no trace of empathy. All you're doing is you're also comparing, though you are giving marks absolutely against a set scale, but there is also at the back of your mind a kind of comparison that would be there, because on this aspect, who did the best? And there could be a possibility that the first contestant sets the tone, a certain level, and then against which the other contestants are rated. But in an evaluation, the objective is to help the speaker realize who he is destined to be. That is, so you see the speaker in terms of not just who he is, but who he can be. And everything that you say, every word, technique, the tone of those words is all meant to get him better.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Jaikumar, for making that clarification. There is another Toastmaster over here who apparently has never come out of the contest. We had Toastmaster Preeti, who ended her evaluation certainly thinking she was in a contest. So Preeti, how do you approach, is there any difference in a contest evaluation and an evaluation that you would do in a club? Or maybe in an evaluation workshop?
Okay, so my question is there a difference between an evaluation that I do at a club and maybe what I do in the contest? So if I tell you, I have three things absolutely fixed in my mind, whether I'm in the club or in the contest. And that is, one is that you should have the intention of helping the speaker, even if he's at your club or it is at your contest. Point number two is whether it's your club or it is a contest, see that you're extremely perfect or thorough with the fundamentals of public speaking. That is, your content, your delivery, your voice modulation, your stage crafting, all the aspects of public speaking. So I look into fundamentals in the contest and in the club. And the third thing is that I should know all my evaluation criteria. I mean, how I'm supposed to evaluate, the analytical skills, the technical skills, how I'm supposed to recommend, be critical, yet be motivational. The biggest difference is, I think, in the club, you have project objectives that are given to you by pathways. And then you basically first concentrate on the project objectives and then probably just add how well he could do on the fundamentals also. But in the contest, you look at a speech like a general speech and you try to cover everything, the content, the delivery, whether all the aspects of probably connection to the audience or giving a great universal message, a theme, a central message. So all the basic fundamentals will go into a contest speech. But what remains the same is what the difference is what I've mentioned, but what remains the same is your hook to the fundamentals, your hook to the evaluation techniques. And third one is a great intention that your speaker comes up as a better speaker in future.
Thank you. That point on which you said about helping the speaker, I think that is a very, very important aspect of every evaluation, whether we are doing it in a contest or otherwise. Yes, Jaikumar sir.
Can I add something to that? Because in a club level, you always have this advantage of knowing the speaker, because it once happened in a club, I had to evaluate a speaker who froze after the opening line. But I gave an evaluation for 3 minutes because I had the advantage of having known his speeches before. So I had to dig into all his past speeches, how he performed, because this was just a moment that would never recur again. So that advantage, but in a contest, you don't have that advantage because it could be someone who you never see.
One very important point to add here, Hari, is that in the club, you're not put on spotlight. I mean, you could go ahead, freak out, talk to the speaker, and it's absolutely, you're a very cool person there. But right now, you saw I gave it to the contest master. So when you're in a contest, naturally you have a little bit of a little bit of anxiety, or probably that's a different kind of a fun that I feel everyone should explore. So that's a huge difference, a homely atmosphere and a atmosphere which is homely but has an examination fear kind of a thing within you. So that's the other difference.
When we had the session, which was led by Srinidhi, she finally ended up saying, as far as skilling up is concerned, the first point is how to improve your analysis, how to improve the speech analysis, how to develop your skill of analysis in general. So I was just wondering, and the question should, I think, will be placed to Dr. Balan. Sir, how is the mental process? You are a psychiatrist, I am told. How is the mental process of an evaluator? How do you approach a speech? What is the mental process of actually evaluating the speech? What all do we look for?
I'll throw light on a very different perspective in this context. See, have you ever given a speech, recorded it, and listened to it? Have you ever given a speech and seen your own video? It's quite revealing. You may not be very happy with your own voice, with your own body movements, with the way your face works. It's about awareness. I'm not aware when I'm speaking as to how I look, how I appear on stage, how my vocal variety comes through. Have I crafted my message well? My job as an evaluator is to make the speaker aware and then use that as a means to educate the audience. So this is the goal, to bring that awareness, which means that I'm not giving advice. This is important. I am here to give you a feedback, an honest feedback of what I saw, what I heard, what I felt. This is the point. The point is about bringing awareness, giving honest feedback to the speaker.
So it is something like the evaluator himself turns into a mirror in front of the speaker. And in that process, he also puts up or rather reflects on what has actually happened and educates probably himself and also the others.
Yes.
Can we put it that way?
Yes, but with one important aspect added to it. See, an evaluation is a speech in itself. I can't make it boring. I have to make it lively. I have to make it interesting. It has to have an opening. It has to have a body. It has to have an ending. It has to be a package. It has to be delivered with empathy. It is a kind mirror.
That's a wonderful point again. Toastmaster Jaikumar, we always have this idea of the structure of the speech in our mind. We have the opening, content, and the conclusion. And that is kind of actually cliched in Toastmasters. Every single speech we approach in that way. But is there a structure for the speech beyond that? Is there a nicer way of, or a more closer way of dissecting it and finding out a better structure or more closer way of looking at the structure of the speech? Is there a possibility?
The OBC method is cliched, but it does have a lot of truth about it. But what I look at is there's a specific purpose behind the speech. And within the scope of the content that he had, how could he have essayed it to have the maximum impact? Was there within that speech a scope for more humor, or were the as I said earlier, the epiphanies could be spelled out better? So within that the context of the script that he has, how he could have maximized the impact is what I look at. Because you can't ask the speaker to change the content, but within the scope of what he had, how could he have maximized it?
Preeti, can you also share your thought on the question of the structure that we will look for when we are evaluating?
If you look into Pathways, it's a beautiful program. I mean, it's so well probably structured for all of us. But I will take you to the past program where we had CC1 to CC10. Now, if you look into CC1 to CC10, you will notice a lot of things that come into the structure of the speech. See, whether a speech has a general purpose. I mean, a general purpose is whether a speech is to inform, to persuade, or to motivate. Then comes the specific purpose of the speech, whether the speaker has a specific purpose in place. Then after the general and specific purpose, whether the speaker has a central message or a central idea in the speech. Does he have a theme that is pulling the entire speech towards the central message? How are the transitions in the speech? I mean, sometimes you have a beautiful structure, you have great stories, but have you got proper transitions so that the audience is like a Google map following you from the start to the end very seamlessly? That is again the structure. Next could be the what, why, and how. Is the speaker having, if there is a problem, what is the problem? Why is it a problem? And in the end, is she giving us a solution as to how you can actually solve that problem? That again comes in the structure. Next one is a lot of other things I would say is it overfilled with facts, or is there too much of content for the audience to probably digest? How is the impact of the speech? I think all this comes into the structure of the speech or how the speech is written. So it's not just the opening body conclusion, but a lot of other things go into the opening body and conclusion is what I would say.
Wonderful. I am almost running out of my arsenal. So from the floor also, if there is any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box over here. We will certainly take up some of them. And you were speaking about Google Map in between. So suddenly that clicked to me. We are now in an era where Jaikumar C Pillai. Oh my God. Anyway, we are in an era where we are looking at meetings being conducted online. We are in a digital world. We are most of the time tied up into our room and we are looking at speeches which is on the screen rather than the old way method. Would it not be necessary that we have new benchmarks or at least revised benchmarks on the question of how to look at a speech which is being performed online on a digital platform like this? Dr. Balan, what do you think would be a thought on that?
Not just in Toastmasters, even as a professional who makes regular speeches to his colleagues in a professional context, this is a very, very important aspect. If you notice here now, my video comes across dark. This is not acceptable. And my background is not right. I'm using a headphone. If I'm standing and speaking, it will interfere with my movements. The wire will come in the way. And that thing on my head makes things a little bit off. The specs make sure that nobody can see my eye. Should I wear my specs? How should I wear my specs so that it won't reflect light, so that people can see my reality through my eyes? So many questions have been thrown up. I think the norms are still being evolved, but lighting and all these aspects which I mentioned, for example, do you give appearance as if you're looking at the camera? Are you looking at the camera or are you looking at your own image while you're speaking? You know, a lot of people, as you're speaking, you're looking at your own image, how you appear on that screen. You should be looking at the camera. Then it gives a feeling that you're actually looking at the audience. If you make movements, for example, if I bring my hand close, it suddenly changes its dimension. How can I use that aspect to create something in my story? You see that movement? How much side-to-side movement can I have? So many aspects. So this is, I think, brought in new dimensions. Still, I think the norms are being evolved.
Preeti, you specifically referred to this issue in your evaluation today, because I think it was Rachel. Rachel had some lights behind her. I was also wondering about it, and you specifically referred to it. What are your thoughts on this? What all have to be added in? What all have to be taken into consideration when you are giving a speech on?
I will first answer the first question that you said, that should there be a new benchmark for giving virtual speeches? I hope we never have to go into new benchmarks of virtual giving speeches ever, because I still wish to come to Bangalore, meet Srinidhi, come down and meet Arjun, meet you, Hari, and stand and experience that rectangular stage. And I still wish to come offline and do my talks. So I hope we never have to set new benchmarks. However, because the world has become a very small place, I think it's very important that we get very used to the virtual presence also. So if you ask me in a speech, because the attention span with the multitasking that all of us are doing on the virtual stage, basically some of, not Toastmasters, but if our cameras are off, maybe someone's munching someone's calling out. So I would say everyone's attention span on the virtual screen is a little less. So I would say reduce your content to not too many things in your speech so that the audience has less to take back. Do not help your audience pay less attention is what I would say. Point number 2 is I usually say know your room and know your material. So know your room very well, whether it's a workshop, whether it's your meeting, how is the lighting, how is your probably your Wi-Fi connection, have a secondary Wi-Fi connection, is your camera at the eye level. The other day I saw a speech and I could only see the nose of the speaker and I could not pay attention for a longer time. Probably silent your pop-up messages on your laptop. Have a mock run, muting the participants. Probably sometimes, I'm sitting down at my house and I'm giving a presentation and there is a cooker whistle coming from the background. And I feel, oh my God, what is this? So some basic points, if we put, then I think the virtual presence can get a lot better. But as far as coming to giving your presentations is concerned, I would say don't give, if you're using a slide, don't use a extremely heavy bulleted slide with around 20 or 30 points. Interact with the audience at short gaps so that the audience is not sleepy. Probably after every 30 seconds or 1 minute, ask them a question. Try to make it more interactive than broadcasting, I would say. So don't try to give all your expertise in one speech, but make it more interactive. So that comes into the speech part. For example, I would say if you notice, a lot of brands have their logo with just 3 words. For example, Nike has just do it, or McDonald's has I'm loving it. So I would say follow this rule of 3. Just have 3 points in your speech, a good start and a good message in the end. And that makes it very interesting for the audience to follow what you're saying on an online platform.
It's a point. And as far as interaction is concerned, I have already requested the audience, if there are questions, please pop it up in the chat box. Finally, Toastmaster Jaikumar, what are your thoughts on the question of digital platform speeches?
I feel that it's mostly people do presentations while they are in the comfort zone of their chairs. It's in Toastmasters that we still stand up and speak. So when you stand up and speak, you have to be very, very careful about how you're doing the camera, whether does it really stick out. So because everyone is sitting and so there's only one person, unless I zoom in the speaker, it would feel slightly awkward. So that's what I feel. So there is nothing wrong in sitting and speaking because that is how most of the meetings happen in the online mode.
We already have the red from the timer, online or offline. We will keep with the Toastmastering tradition of stopping now.
Thank you so much.
Hari, one thing to add here is I'm very sure Nidhi will surely agree with me, Srinidhi, is that on an online platform, when you're winning a contest, it is extremely painful to take the award on the screen. You feel like, oh, you worked for it and why not go on the main stage and collect it from someone and have those Toastmasters hugging you and giving you those wishes. So I think that is one thing that I really miss on this online platform. So
one day sooner, we will certainly have the physical meetings where we shake hands and hug each other. Certainly. Thank you so much for being here on this panel, Dr. Balan, Preeti, and Jaikumar.
Thank you so much, sir.
And thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to Division K. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Well conducted session, well organized and structured. Thank you so much for that. When you were talking about the time when Toastmasters meetings were conducted on like offline, I find it very interesting because I joined Toastmasters only this year, January. So even I have never experienced such a thing. So even I want to be in an offline meeting of Toastmasters. And just like Preeti ma'am said, I want to feel all those, even the suggestions, you get it from a real person standing in front of you. So that might be a different experience, which I never had experienced. So I hope we all get an opportunity to have an offline meeting very soon. So moving on. Now, can I have the timers report on the time taken? Let's call upon Toastmaster Jovan George for the report.
Thank you, Yancy. The meeting started sharp at 7 p.m. With regard to opening section, the time allotted for mission statement and meetings activities was 2 minutes, and Toastmaster Jaideep Shan MV has taken 1.5 minutes. The time allotted for welcome address was 5 minutes, and Toastmaster Shirley John has taken 4 minutes and 15 seconds. The time allotted for education section was 20 minutes, and Toastmaster Srinidhi has taken 17 minutes and 15 seconds, and the QA session has taken another 4.5 minutes. With regard to prepared speeches, the time allotted for each prepared speech was 7 minutes, and Toastmaster Rachel Babu has taken exactly 7 minutes. Toastmaster Meghna Hari has taken 7 minutes and 15 seconds, and Toastmaster Rajat Santosh has taken 7 minutes. The total time allotted for entertaining quiz was 9 minutes, and the actual time has taken was 15 minutes and 30 seconds. With regard to speech evaluation, the time allotted for each evaluation was 3 minutes. Toastmaster Preeti Kothari has taken exactly 3 minutes. DTM Dr. Balan Vijayakumar has taken 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Toastmaster Jaikumar C Pillai has taken 3 minutes and 20 seconds. The total time allotted for panel discussion was 20 minutes, and actual time taken was 20 minutes and 30 seconds. Now the time is 8 o'clock and 8.55, and we are on 2 minutes late. Thank you. Over to MCs.
Thank you so much for that detailed report. As we come to the end of this session, we have none other than Toastmaster Safir. I fondly call him Toastmaster Safir sir. So he is always there for us. I think he is one person who will come to you wherever he is. He is the division director for Division K, and he is the consultant in aviation industry. I need not explain all about him. You all know him, but still, since it's my duty, I'm just giving a small introduction to him. He's the one who gave the winning name for the District 121 conference for this Toastmaster year, which is Crescendo. He closely monitors the performance of every club in his Division K and reaches out to those who might need help, just like I said before. So let's invite Toastmaster Safir Aziz DTM for the felicitation.
Thank you very much, FIBA. First of all, apologies to all of you for showing my dark face to you tonight. I'm on my way traveling from Kochi to Kollam. Apologies for that. Many of you know that I am a big fan of quotes, and I have a collection of them. I keep collecting them as it comes my way. And one of the interesting quotes that I saw in the last couple of days, it says that nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. Nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. Over the last 3 weeks, starting from 4th of September, the Division K team, comprising of the area directors, 8 club presidents, the PR machinery at the division, the PR machinery at these individual clubs, have been giving wonderful opportunities to Toastmasters in our district and beyond by bringing together a host of educational sessions. In the first 8 meetings, if we serve biryani or a sumptuous meal, today it was a feast that was served. Nothing more or nothing less than a sumptuous sadhya, if I may call it that way. What else can we talk about? What else can we say about 3 evaluators from different districts, an educational session presenter, 3 speeches, and a panel discussion, all focusing on the techniques of evaluation. I'm sure that the attendees today and all the attendees, around 445 of them who attended the month of basic series, has benefited immensely from the educational sessions that were presented before and today. And I'm sure that this has given a lot of experience and exposure to the leaders within Division K on how to organize events, on how to market events, and how to bring leaders in their own way from different parts of the world. We have had presenters from UAE. Dr. Balan is based out of Dubai. We have had people coming in from Doha. We had one presenter coming in from Singapore. So this was a massive experience for all of us organizing these events, and I'm sure that it would have given the best learning experience to all the attendees, 445 of them, as I said. Thank you all the panelists who came in today for sharing their valuable experience, and wishing everybody in the meeting now and all of Division K the very best in the months to come and for the remaining of the term. Thank you, and back to FIBA.
Thank you so much for your wonderful words. Even while you're traveling, you managed to speak so well of everyone. Thank you for that. How can we end our session without the smiling presence of our area director, Toastmaster Dr. Shirley John? Finally, for the vote of thanks and the closing address, let's invite Toastmaster Dr. Shirley John.
Let my teaching fall like rain, my words descend like dew, like showers on new grass, like drizzle on tender plants. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 2. Feedback is not a downpour that washes away all vegetation. It is like a drizzle, nourishing all flora. So gentle, kind, helpful, and specific. Feedback should be constructive, neither positive nor negative, and conveyed with good intention, and should be instrumental for improvement. We need to seek it with sincerity and accept it with grace. This is what we learned from the essence of evaluation. Good evening once more to this elite gathering. I am so honored and privileged to deliver the vote of thanks and express my gratitude to all of you, my dear Toastmasters and distinguished guests, for the opportunity. I have no words for Toastmaster Srinidhi for illustrating the nuances of a motivating evaluation. My heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to the evaluation titans, Toastmaster Preeti Kothari, Dr. Balan Vijayakumar DTM, Toastmaster Jaikumar C Pillai, and the scholarly panel moderator, Toastmaster Hariraj Emma. The three young speakers, I am really obliged to you. I wish all of you a great Toastmaster experience. I would appreciate the quiz master for his incredible, entertaining quiz, and congratulations to the erudite winners. I acknowledge the presence of DTM Narayanan M. PQD and DTM Arjun Sundar Raj CGD from District 121, and all division area club officials and all Toastmasters and guests who attended to today's meeting. I wish to acknowledge my gratitude to my own team, the alluring, unblemished area secretary, Toastmaster Jaikumar NV, for that dazzling introduction. Our amiable and charismatic Toastmaster FIBA Rina George, who made the same impeccable. The man behind the backdrop, spotless and perfect. The Assistant Division Director Program Quality, the Permanent Zoom Coordinator, Toastmaster Jaikumar C Pillai. All the 8 clubs who hosted the 8 educational sessions in the month of Basics, September. My co-area directors, DTM Sujasam and Toastmaster Hariraj, who were always ready to help. And my division director, DTM Safir Aziz. The concept of the month of Basics was his brainchild. And he only conceived the idea of linking the essence of evaluation with it. He is the backbone of this initiative. I wish to put on record the relentless efforts of Toastmaster Hazel Nikondo for putting her creative energies into developing beautiful flyers which received wide appreciation. An event of such great a magnitude will not happen overnight. Lots of Toastmasters work behind the curtain to make this dream a reality. I wish to thank these prodigious altruistic Toastmasters from the bottom of my heart. My dear Toastmasters, learners need endless feedback, more than they need endless teaching. Thank you, everyone. Division K and Area K3 are greatly obliged to you. Stay healthy, stay safe, and good night. Thank you.